He's amazing.
Absolutely not.
Hi, I'm Madeline.
And I'm Caroline, and you're listening to Talkitecture, the podcast where we gossip as students
And spill the tea on all things architecture.
We are very excited because this is the very first episode of Talkitecture.
Woohoo!
We are introducing our Studio Synopsis series today, and this episode will happen monthly, and we'll be talking about our studio life. And this semester, we are both in the Chicago studio, where we are tasked with designing a preschool on the river in downtown Chicago. And recently, our studio went on a trip to Chicago to visit our sites in person for the very first time. And we got to see some of Chicago's iconic architecture.
Yes. So the Chicago studio takes place in the second semester of our first year in the grad program at UVA. And what are we designing?
A preschool.
A preschool.
A Reggio Emilia preschool.
That is very important.
Yes.
A Reggio Emilia preschool that is 35,000 square feet. And our site is right along the river in Chicago. So for our Chicago trip, we basically went there to see our site.
Exactly. And Reggio Emilia is like a teaching principle that our professors introduced to us. There's a lot of writing about it. So we're basically trying to take these teaching principles and make them spatial ideas.
And we're not teachers.
No.
And barely architects. So it has taken me some time to get used to using the Reggio Emilia principles, but I really like them now that I know about them.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, they just go hand in hand with architecture. Like
they really
they
do.
Don't feel like that foreign.
No, it's almost like fun criteria that we get to check off. It's like having cute courtyards and gathering spaces. And it's like, oh my God, so cute and fun. Yeah.
All right.
Day one of Chicago, we have our flight.
Yes. Day one, we have to meet at the Charlottesville airport.
Which is tiny.
Miniature. Like
a dollhouse.
Like flying private, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, you have to walk outside to get on your plane, and that's how you know the airport is small.
Yes. Yeah, when you have those little things that wheel up the stairs to like get on, and there's only like 2 gates.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a tiny airport, but I kind of like it.
I really liked it. It was fun to see everyone traveling together because we haven't gone on a trip like this before as a cohort, and it was just really funny.
Those are just the best trips to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the chaos of traveling with 40 people that shouldn't be like together. Like,
no.
Just 2 moms and a group of 40 randomly aged
20
people.
to 30-year-olds. Some of us are married, some of us are not. Just
some of us
fun stuff.
Could only legally drink a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
not even.
Yeah, so just a fun time.
It was really fun. The flight was short. Caroline and I watched the Love is Blind reunion on her, obviously. I mean, we had to. It was really good.
I mean, if you haven't been into Love is Blind recently, I think you should.
I think you should.
If you
Even
like
though
chaos.
It will be long over by now, you have to listen to it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we land in Chicago pretty early, I think around 11 or something like that.
Yeah, around 11. And we're taxiing on the tarmac for about 30 minutes.
I thought, that would go on forever. I've never been on a plane after landing for that long.
Same. It was crazy. And we were moving the whole time. It felt like we were just like on a bus.
Yeah, I kind of forgot we were on a plane.
Yeah. And I've never been to Chicago before, and Madeline's never been before.
Yeah.
So the Chicago O'Hare Airport was just like crazy. I've been to like big airports, but
Same.
Something about this one, I was like, wait, like it
was huge. Yeah. Huge.
It was sprawling.
Sprawling. Yeah. The airport was fun. And then we get on the metro or the subway, I guess, to go to our hotel.
Yeah.
And we kind of stayed in like a little hostel. It was fun. It felt like a sleepover.
Yeah, the Freehand Hotel in Chicago.
Shout out.
It's cute. I mean, nautical themed, which was a little weird.
Very weird.
It kind of made it more claustrophobic in there because it was just wood on all the
wood
walls.
Paneling everywhere. And then in each room, there's 2 sets of bunk beds. So me and Caroline were in a room with 2 other girls. And it was fun, but claustrophobic a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it could have been nautical themed and you just painted the walls blue or something. Like, you didn't need to put all this wood up.
Put an anchor here or there, but
Yeah.
we don't need to feel like we're in a ship.
Yeah.
I hate boats too, so not my favorite thing. But I did really like the hotel. There was a hotel bar there and a photo booth, which we took advantage of.
We did, of
That
course.
was fun. Yeah, and then after that, our professors made us drop our stuff off and get the heck out of there. Move on
Yeah.
with our day.
We were running late. I forgot why we were running late. I don't remember. Like,
It may have been because we were on the tarmac for so long
Yeah.
after landing. I don't
something
know.
happened and we were like delayed. But I don't remember like hearing that we were delayed. I don't know.
We
But
were like an hour behind.
An hour behind, and we had an office tour at Perkins and Will downtown, which thankfully was like 5 blocks from our apartment, our hotel.
We live there now.
Yeah.
So our first stop on the trip was the Perkins and Will office.
Which is in this kind of old historic building, I think. It's very ornamental, Gilded Age, if you will.
Sure.
You walk into the lobby, everything is in gold. Like gold everywhere. The elevators are gold.
It was like you walk, it was crazy. We were all like touching everything.
Yeah.
We could not be normal.
Yeah. It was so weird.
And we had to check in each. It was just it was a lot.
Yeah. High stakes. Security, of course.
Of
One thing about an architecture firm is they take
They're
themselves
secure.
seriously.
Too seriously. The building was also like, I think in the dead center of Chicago, right?
Yeah. It was right on the river. Right
really
next to
great
the
location.
Apple store.
Mm-hmm.
And we go in the elevator and we all squeeze in somehow.
Yep.
And we're in this like Gilded Age lobby, and then we go up 10 floors, and then we're in this sleek, modern, evil headquarters.
Almost sci-fi.
Yeah. Everything is black, gray, and white. Not
Some
even
brown.
Yeah. Like even the river in their models isn't blue, it's black.
Yeah.
Like
it was very like sleek. If that's your vibe, you will love this office.
yes, very
Personally,
sleek.
I think I can speak for both of us. Not our vibes.
No, and every single person we saw like shuffling throughout the office was wearing the same thing, which was terrifying because we even asked during the tour, we were like, is there a uniform here? And they were like, no.
Yeah. No, I asked one of my professors that, and she was like, no, I think that's just an unspoken thing. I was like, huh.
How? I don't understand the architects wearing black thing. I feel like that's a whole tangent, but why do we wear black? It's so pretentious and weird to me.
Yeah, pretentious is the perfect word.
Yeah.
And it's just unnecessary. But it was kind of scary to walk in and everyone is wearing black, and then we walked into this conference room and it was all white everywhere. It was just like sterile.
Sterile. Yes, sterile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, as you said, we were running about an hour late, which means they had to give their hour-and-a-half presentation in give or take 20 minutes.
And they did.
They did.
They are fast speakers. I feel like maybe they give their client meetings that fast because it was like they had practice doing that.
It was almost too fast for me because I was trying so hard to listen, but like my brain couldn't keep up with it. It was a lot to take in.
It was very fast. It was pretty interesting. Like I think I would have liked the material if I had more time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we asked them a few questions about, because they design a lot of commercial buildings and they've done some schools, and we asked questions about how they design spaces for kids, and they didn't really answer in a way that I wanted them to. They were kind of just like short sinks, stuff like that.
they're more short sinks. Short sinks because someone asked a question about designing a building for people at 2 different scales. So like the scale of a child who is like half the size of an adult. Like how do you build for both of those different people? And they were like, well, we just put children's sinks in. And I think there was a disconnect because they're very much in the practical, real life scenario.
And we're thinking
area.
like Reggio Emilia.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
We're like, so do you make like little play walls for the kids like in every classroom? They're just
And they were like, no. It was almost too real.
It was very real.
Too real. Back it up. I think, I don't know, Perkins Will was just like not my vibe, but I appreciated their work ethic and professionalism.
Yeah. I mean, someone has to do it.
Someone has to. Yeah. Yeah. What were your takeaways?
I mean, they're a huge firm, first of all. They have like tons of offices around the world, I think, not just the US. I don't know. I just felt like they were a shining example of the difference between architecture school and architecture practice.
Yeah. Definitely.
In one place. Totally different vibe. Also, I feel like it's kind of easy to find a place that's your vibe in architecture because every studio does things a little differently. They just weren't my vibe. Like, I don't want to live in a black and white world where we all are just building, like, what's standard in a way.
And
Not
some people
standard,
like,
but-
no, I think that's accurate. Some people like that. Some
Yeah.
people don't. I don't know.
I like like the practical building and like residential housing, and I love all of that, but we don't need to all wear black and be in a
Yeah.
white conference room. Like, architecture is professional, and I don't think we need any of those things to convince people that it is.
Exactly. I think it's fine to show her personality a little bit more
Yeah.
in some cases. But yeah, that was Perkins and Will. I wish we got a tour of their studios a little bit to see, but we were really crunched on time.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get to do much.
What were your takeaways?
Just like black, white, sleek.
Yeah.
It was, if you've seen the TV show Severance, it was very much giving Severance.
Exactly. Especially entering the building and it being so like colorful, and then you going up to that floor and it being like whitewashed. Yeah.
Robotic almost. Yeah, I think that some people like that, some people don't. It was interesting to see such like a dramatic side of what architecture could be.
Yeah.
Like that's one end of the spectrum, I guess.
Yeah, it was good to see. And like the buildings that they showed us that they built were really interesting. Like a lot of them were really cool still. It was just their vibe wasn't our vibe.
But they did give us sparkling water and gourmet gummy bears.
Yeah, they had great snacks.
Great.
That's the thing
Great
about
snacks.
architecture offices. When I first like worked in one, I was like, oh my God, they give you snacks and all this. And then I'm realizing, oh, because this is a toxic work culture and you can't leave the office because you're here all night and all day. So they have to give you some food to make you want to do that.
Yep.
So now I'm wary of the snack cart in the office.
I know. Now it's like if you have great snacks, rethink something.
Yeah.
You know?
Are your employees here till midnight every night?
Exactly. That was Perkins and Will. And then I think after that, we had about an hour between our next stop at Studio Gang. And we just kind of walked around a little bit. We went to the Apple store.
And Sweet Green.
The Apple store was beautiful.
Yeah. Really pretty. Who designed the Apple store?
It was designed by Foster and Partners.
Interesting.
I don't know a lot about them.
It's really
beautiful. Really, really pretty. We all like walked in together and kind of just like stood there in awe.
Yeah, because there's just it's so simple, stairs leading to the river with glass around it, but the staircase
It was really pretty.
Of the river goes into the building, so it's all one giant staircase, but what demarcates, what the hell was that?
Demarcates?
I don't know. Denote?
Demarcate?
I don't know what's going on. Help me. Denotes?
I truly actually don't know what
differentiates the inside from... Is that right? What's going on? I can't think of a word. What's
differentiate is the word you're thinking of, I think. But the fact that you said demarcate?
Demarcates. Differentiates?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
I think so.
The inside from the outside is this glass curving wall, which is really cool.
Caroline and I walk in, and then we turn around, and everyone's behind us, I think.
Yeah. Or, like, a group of people are behind us.
Yeah. And everyone's just, like, touching the glass.
We're just trendsetters.
And then, okay, side story. You know those goggles that they have?
Yes.
I've been dying. I was dying to try on those goggles, and I asked the man working there to try them on, and he was like, sure, make an appointment. And I was like, okay, I did it 3:00 today. And he was like, yeah, you made it for tomorrow.
He was like, 3 p.m. today? And she's like, yeah, today. And he was like, are you sure you didn't make it for tomorrow? She checks her phone, and she's like, yeah, on the 18th. And he was like, tomorrow. And she's like, yes.
Yeah, of course. So I'll be here tomorrow. Did not go back.
No.
Still have yet to try on the goggles. This is my second attempt to do so.
No, he asked us if this was our neighborhood Apple, and we did say yes.
Of course I said yes. I was like, yes, I live in Chicago.
This is not my neighborhood Apple.
No. I think, yeah. So anyways, that was fun. I love seeing the Apple building. What did we do after that?
Then we went to Sweet Green.
We went to Sweet Green. Okay, I am a diehard Sweet Green stan. I could eat it every meal for every day. And Caroline has not had it, and I talk about it, I feel like, all the time.
I've had it.
Or you have had it, but you don't have the appreciation
no,
that I need you to have
I didn't like, I don't think about Sweet Green daily. Madeline thinks about Sweet Green.
On the daily.
Daily.
Yeah, so we went to Sweet Green. It was delicious. From Sweet Green, we then took the metro to our next stop, Studio Gang.
Studio Gang. Crazy name. Let's just start there.
Studio Gang.
Assert your dominance, Genie Gang. Assert it.
I didn't realize that it was named after a person until we got there and people were talking about, what's her name?
Genie Gang?
Genie Gang.
It looks like Gina, so
yeah,
maybe
it
it's
does.
Gina.
No, I think it's Genie. Anyways, last name is Gang. So thus Studio Gang.
Yeah.
We walk in and it's kind of on the opposite side of town in like a cuter, low-key neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the building, the lighting is like soft, warm lighting, wood walls. It's very cozy.
Well, the building is a historic building, I think, or it's just an older building with a lot of character that they renovated and turned into their studio. So immediately it has like a very different vibe. It's not corporate at all, and they own the whole building, and it's in like a little neighborhood kind of suburb of Chicago. Not suburb, but like an area that's more residential, not
Definitely.
the high rises down in the loop like Perkins Will was.
I really liked the location and the office a lot. I liked that it was low rise. It felt a little more casual, which is more my vibe, and it was very colorful, and I have to say everyone there was wearing like t-shirts and jeans,
and
not all black uniform.
Yeah, people were wearing like unique outfits. Like it wasn't one color throughout or like, kind of the same silhouette. Like you could tell each person had a personality.
Exactly. I was just going to say everyone had a personality. Everyone has a unique style, which I think they appreciate. And I really like that. We kind of sat in on one of their pinups, their weekly pinups, saw some cool projects. It was really fun. It was also a happy hour, so everyone was like drinking beer.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. You were just there.
We walk in and I was like, oh my gosh, is that sparkling water? And you were like, I think that's beer.
Yeah, they just had like coolers of beer out. And we were like, okay, we're drinking.
It was like, okay, this is the vibe. Very cool. I loved it.
It was cool to see their pinup, but the thing about architects, okay, architecture is a profession, I get it, okay?
Sure, yes.
But they are so secretive. Like
you walk in and they're like, this is what is said in this room stays in this room.
Exactly.
Yet here we are on a podcast.
Here we are discussing it. No, but I can't even talk further about the meeting.
No, we can't really.
Because who's going to come after me? I don't know.
I'm scared, though. They made it so serious. They're like, do not take any pictures. I left my phone in my bag in the room when we went on the tour.
An architect in all black is going to show up at our doors.
Just like knocking on our doors, being like, so unfortunately, we know that you have talked about us. We are here to do something about it.
You actually aren't even allowed to mention our name. Can't even talk.
I'm scared that we said that we were drinking beer there.
Oh my God.
It was a happy hour. It's okay. I think
we are
fine.
over the age of 21. It was all legal. Let's make that clear.
We're adults.
We're graduate students.
No, it was chill. But we can't talk about any of the projects, unfortunately. But I will just say that they blew me away.
I mean, they were stunning. There were some in there that were so cool.
Like, let's talk about Studio Gang's models. Because I think we're allowed to talk about it a little bit.
No, we're allowed to talk about it because they are finished projects and they're public.
Yeah, so we're allowed to talk about the projects that they've completed that the public can view. We're not allowed to talk about the projects that are still in development.
Exactly. I want to know the logistics around that, but that's different.
Yeah, me too. Because it's kind of like, it's a little bit pretentious to me. You're not that big of a deal. Like, sure, I am obsessed with you, but, like, don't take yourself so seriously.
I think it's like an intellectual property thing. Like, the idea could be stolen, but I think once it's built, the idea can be stolen, too.
No, I mean, I'm sure lawyers will come at us for saying this.
Somebody's
maybe me specifically. But, like, let's just chill. You know? Okay, I actually think that this is a good spot to play our voice memo.
I think this is perfect. So we'll explain that when we were in Chicago and we were thinking about this episode that we were going to be filming about it, or recording, not filming, we decided to do voice memos while we were there to kind of capture big ideas in the moment that really stuck with us. And so we're going to play the one from when we got out of Studio Gang. And I think we're walking through the metro.
Yeah.
So
sorry if it's a little bit noisy, but
The audio is going to be authentic on these.
It's authentic, okay? We were in the subway. We were just having a good time. Okay, let me find it. Okay, we're in the subway right now. Name off some materials that you want to use in your models after that. Felt. Beads. Fur. More fabric. Mesh. Stencils. Oh, like stamps. Doors open on the left. Yeah. Dowels.
Okay. That was our voice memo on the train.
Yes, we are walking actively through the metro trying to get on our train in that moment, but we really just wanted to, as you just heard, list off some of the materials we saw in the models because it was truly so creative.
Yeah, I was so inspired by their models. They were crazy. Like, if you can, just Google Studio Gang and models and just look on their website. They have a bunch of pictures posted of them. They are just like works of art.
Like, truly, there's fur on these models. One of the models was made of popcorn buckets. One of them had, tiny little hammocks for people in the woods in the model. It was so cute.
They're so detailed. They put little kayakers in the river. They model the river. Like, they're just, and every one of them is very different. Like, there's kind of a distinct style, but it's more, the style is just like experimentation. They're constantly playing with different materials and it's always colorful, which was super, super cool to see.
There was such a wide range of models because some look like they were really put together as partie models in like a few minutes, and then some were these giant like 6 foot by 6 foot like site models with trees and the buildings and people and little kayakers and ducks, and it was just so fun to see.
No, it was so cool. And even like the huge site models, like everything was so accurate. Just like the craftsmanship on them was insane. Like the trees in one of them were tagged, so they knew exactly what tree that was, and that tree was not just a generalization of like, oh, this is a forest area or a clearing.
Where the tree is literally on the site.
Yeah, they have like a rhino model somewhere of all the trees on that site and exactly what that tree is and its age and its health. It's crazy.
If you can't tell, Caroline and I love model making. We're obsessed with it. It's my favorite part of a project, honestly.
It's the best part. It's like where you just get to be in like an arts and crafts class. It feels like summer camp.
Yeah, let's talk about their model, what is it called?
Model
their Fab
shop?
Lab. Yeah, model shop. It was so cozy. They had sewing machines, every color of spray paint you could imagine, fabric swatches. It was so awesome.
It was so cool in there. And they were playing music all the time. And they said that everyone in the office kind of filtered through that area and got to do a little bit of production each day. There were definitely some people that were kind of their whole position was doing that. But it was so cool that you could really tell every person in that office kind of had a hand in producing a model.
Definitely. It was so creative. I think I have another voice memo. I'm going to play it. Like they spent a lot of time on it, obviously, but it's like you can see that they had fun making them,
And like they were all achievable if you broke them down into like tiny pieces and just focused on it. Took a long period of time in studio and just focused on like, okay, I know the topo is going to be this, and then you layer in like landscape and building.
Well, they even said that when they were presenting to clients, renderings are great, but they valued the model so much. Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying.
Okay, I love that.
I love that voice memo. You can tell that we're a little out of breath because we're just like walking so fast.
The whole time we're just sprinting for no reason.
No
reason, just walking fast.
Well, the reason is our professors were booking it, and I was just trying to catch up.
I don't think we were with our professors, though. I think by our own will, we just wanted to book it every single time.
It's that city life.
City girls, city rats.
I think in that voice memo, towards the end, I was saying how the models were used almost in the place's renderings just because they were so accurate, but like because they were so creative and used cool materials, it captures the vibe almost of these projects really well. That in a regular, more accurate maybe model, more boring, it might not capture that vibe, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the models are really important as a student for understanding the project, and seeing how they could do a really technical, huge site model, but you could really see how they broke it down into the pieces and were able to make that achievable by doing it in-house was really cool to see, because then I feel like we could take that into how we're going to build our site model for Chicago, which, surprise, we're going to build together. So I feel like going there was so helpful for how we think we're going to build our site model, and just like it's achievable. Like these things, they look beautiful and like, oh my God, how can I build that? Like there's no way I'm ever going to build something like that. But if you think about like, okay, I just need chipboard first so I can cut the topography. Step one.
Exactly.
Achievable.
Break it down into steps. Yeah, we're really excited to make our site model together. We have some big plans.
Yes. May or may not involve fur.
Yeah. Fur will be playing a big role. Fur. Just here are the takeaways. Fur, ducks, and boats.
Yes, ducks are imperative.
Yeah, I was really just impressed by the tiny little people and animals that they had in their models at Studio Gang. So I'm copying them a little bit.
Yeah.
And I have no shade. No shame.
No shame.
I have no shade. Okay, after Studio Gang, I think we are free for the day.
Yeah, we were set loose in Chicago.
We are free. So me, Caroline, and a few other people, you know, obviously when in Chicago, you get deep dish pizza. And we've never had it before, so we went to Giordano's.
Of course, it was a no-brainer for us. Immediately, deep dish pizza.
Like, I would hope that's on the top of your mind when you think.
Speechless.
I'm speechless. I was just honestly blown away by the deep dish pizza. And, like, some people in our group opted to not get deep dish pizza. But you know what? Like,
no shade.
No shade. No shade.
But we researched the best deep dish pizza place.
We did a lot of research.
Giordano's. And so it takes an hour to cook.
Okay, yes. If you're ever thinking, I want deep dish pizza and I'm starving and I need it right now, don't get deep dish pizza because you will be waiting an hour after you order it.
Yes.
Which we did.
It was worth it.
Honestly, it was worth it. I kind of was expecting that, you know, we ordered a big pizza. We were thinking, okay, we'll each have like 2 slices. We'll be good. Barely finished the first slice.
That pizza was insane. Like, I could barely eat that first slice, and I was hungry.
But it was really, really, really good. I highly recommend.
At Giordano's, they love to fill you up with drinks while you're waiting for that pizza.
Yes, let me just say we each ordered 1 drink on a pretty empty stomach after walking miles that day. So, you know what? They were just like making us drunk and happy.
Which is the way to go, I feel like. I had the time of my life sitting at that little round table Italian restaurant.
Yes.
Felt like I was just a kid again at an Italian restaurant.
It was so fun. I loved it. The deep dish pizza was a must. And then after we got pizza, we just hung out at the hotel bar with a bunch of people in our studio. And it was so fun.
Yep. And that was a wrap on the night.
And that was day 1, Chicago.
Exactly. This all happened in one day.
Yeah. This trip was a 3-day trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, 2 days. No, it was 3 days. It was 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, 3-day trip.
So day 2.
Okay, let's get into day 2. Day 2, we start off strong with a 6-mile long walking tour.
So there's this thing called the Loop in Chicago. And
yeah, I'm still unclear on the Loop, but just know it's called the Loop.
It's not really a loop.
That's why it's confusing to me.
So the Loop is not a loop, but it's called a loop. And it's forever. Melon is rolling her eyes.
It's just annoying. Don't call it a loop if it's not a loop. It's just confusing.
Yeah.
Caroline is really good at directions. I'm horrible at directions. So if you say the Loop, I'm going to be imagining a circle.
It's not a circle.
No, it's not a circle.
It's just the downtown area.
Yeah.
I think it's just the name of the neighborhood. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So we went on the walking tour. I wrote down 3 places that really stuck out to me. I think we really saw pretty much all of Chicago in the main city area. We walked a lot. The first place is the Chicago Public Library.
Yes.
Stunning.
I
Honestly,
mean,
a great wedding venue.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think everyone walked away with, okay, I'm getting married there.
Yeah, exactly. You walk in and it's just tall ceilings, this grand staircase, marble, green ornamentation. It's really I don't know how to describe it and do it justice.
It was like stuff I've seen before. Like, it was beautiful, but there's something about it, like, sparkled, which was
it
so
did.
bizarre. It, like, was literally sparkling
It was
the whole
shimmery.
time. And it was, like, low lit. Like, I don't physically know how it was sparkling, but the whole place was sparkling.
We all kind of walked in and just started walking so slow, just mesmerized by the shimmeriness of that building.
Yeah, it had, like, an aura to it. It was really nice. And we almost didn't go into it.
Yeah, we almost didn't because it's not, like, I think it's kind of hidden. It's a hidden gem, if you will.
It's, like, right downtown,
No,
like, in front of the
right
biggest park.
smack dab in front of your face.
But maybe not a building everyone would go inside to
No.
visit.
It was really pretty. I highly recommend. I don't have, like, a lot to say about that, so
It was just literally glowing.
it was glowing. If we didn't have a whole list of things to do that day, I would be happy just sitting there staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, it was
Like,
stunning.
the whole day. Yeah. Okay. The next building I wrote down, I don't know how to pronounce this
was
building,
just
so
gonna
go
say.
ahead.
Monadnock building?
Monadnock. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right. Monadnock.
Monadnock. I
That
can't
name
say it
just
way too many
does
times.
not roll off the tongue.
No, I can't say it more than once or else it'll, like, lose meaning.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, the Monadnock building, I learned about this all the time in architecture school and art history. It's very famous for its thickness.
It's a really thick building.
And when I say, like, when we say thick, I mean the bottom story, the walls are 6 to 7 feet thick.
No, it's insane. Like, I really want to know what was going through the architect's mind, like, when he designed this.
I think their intention was, if we make it really thick at on the bottom, we can make it so infinitely tall. Like, yeah, okay, sure. But I've seen other buildings that are normal and tall.
I guess, but it's like, it's so odd.
It is odd. Like, we went inside, and when you're on the first story, you look through the windows and you just see 7 feet of brick.
Just rows and rows and rows of brick.
The exterior is not my style. It's kind of ugly, I'll say it, but the interior was actually really pretty. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked the interior. They had a bunch of shops in there, and it's really low lit on the first floor.
Yeah.
Because you're walking through the middle, so there's just no sunlight in there, but it kind of had this nice little glow with, like, all of the soft lighting that they had in there from the shops. It was very cute.
You walk inside and you walk through a hallway, and the hallway kind of has windows for walls, and there's natural sunlight is let in because of the windows on the shop. Like, I don't know how to describe
It's
it.
like a
but
lot of
lights gets
filtering.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not a lot. It's pretty dark.
Like, I'm going to use the term brise soleil. That's what I think they were.
Brise soleil.
Brise soleil. That's like an architecture term, I think.
Really?
Yeah, let me look it up.
Okay. We're going to have to fact check that one.
Okay, yes. Brise soleil. It is a type of solar shading system used a series of horizontal or vertical blades control. Okay, so I don't know if
Incorrect
the term that I used. It comes from the French word sunbreaker. So it does not apply, unfortunately, but
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
We clearly can't describe this building accurately, so just look it up.
Look it up.
Look it up. It's pretty. So the next building we have is the Rookery. I think this is a kind of a classic Chicago building.
Yeah. I mean, the
don't
pictures,
really
I was
remember what
blown
it looked
away
like.
by the pictures before we went. But then we went and it was way smaller and I was like, okay, this is like cute, I guess. But not wedding venue.
Yeah, it's really pretty. The inside was like, had that glass ceiling and the staircase. It kind of greenhouse vibes almost.
It was cool, but nothing holds up next to the Chicago Public Library.
Very true. Okay, I think we have a voice memo for this building as well. Let's play it.
What are your impressions on the inside of the rookery? Gilded age. Sly.
That was it?
Okay, that's it.
I mean,
Gilded Age.
I think that describes it. If you know what the Gilded Age is, you already have a picture in your mind of what the rookery is.
Yeah, I think, yeah. The rookery was really pretty. Those were kind of the 3 takeaways, I think, which was... I liked our walking tour a lot, actually. It was fun. The weather was super nice when we were there also. I was kind of, the windy city, expecting just wind beating me down and coldness. But it was fine.
Well, we had our gigantic puffers on.
Yeah, we did have puffers.
But the wind was beating my face. Like, my face felt a little raw. Like, a little dry.
Slightly, yes. Okay. After the walking tour, we went to the AIA. What does AIA stand for? Do you remember?
The American Institute of Architects, actually.
The AIA is extremely important while simultaneously being irrelevant.
Exactly. But could not have been put in more perfect words.
Thank you.
Honestly. Like, that sums it up.
I don't know what the AIA is, but I hear about it on the daily. And then we go to the meeting and they're like, we're so important. Like, use our resources. And I'm like, yes, you have great resources. I don't know.
The whole presentation was buy the membership to be a part of us because you have to pay to be a part of the AIA.
Oh, I did not pick up on that at all.
It was all just like pay us.
Yeah, it kind of
was. You want this. You want to pay us. You need to pay us because we give you this. And take it or leave it. Okay, no. The reason why we are eventually going to pay this fee is because we get fancy letters behind our name.
Yeah.
That's the sole reason I will be paying that fee in the future.
Yes. Okay, there were some things that the AIA, I think, was doing pretty well because they were talking about how there's a time executive order to make all courthouses classical buildings, and they were kind of advocating to not make, like, this national style of building. And I think that's a good example of what their role is on a more... like a larger scale.
They do a lot of lobbying for architects, I think.
Which I think is good. We need someone to do that. It's great. It just seemed not really relevant to what we're doing right now, almost.
No, they were talking about the Trump executive order for public buildings to be classical.
Yes.
And yeah, which is great that that's not a thing because that's how a dictator
Yes, exactly.
comes.
They're also on the state level, they're currently advocating for things around licensure and a national disaster. That's what I wrote down. What does that mean?
What are your notes?
I just wrote down state level, national disaster.
You also wrote down time instead of Trump. A time executive order.
Yes, a time executive order. You're not familiar? No, I meant Trump executive order. Okay, on a personal level, the AIA helps you get a job and grow as an architect and get your license.
I have a bone to pick with help get a job.
Let's hear it.
Well, just like everyone says that, but I'm like, okay, but you're not really going to help me get a job. Like, okay,
yeah,
you're going to post jobs. Okay, we have Google now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, that's a great tool, but like...
No, it is really good, but I think what really helps me get a job is some face-to-face advice. They're not necessarily providing that, so if you're looking for that kind of help, you're not going to get that there. If you're looking for a list of jobs to apply to, that's a great place to look.
It's the very general kind of help. Architecture's kind of all about connections and nepotism, so
yeah,
to me it's like,
no, I know
this job board might not, like, sure, I will apply for the job and find out about it from the job board, but
are we gonna get
this job?
Like, I don't know. I think before we go on, let's play our voice memo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just a warning, we were heated coming out of this meeting.
We were hungry. There was something about pizza I think we need to talk about.
We'll get into that afterwards.
Okay, we just got out of the AIA meeting. Give me your thoughts. Pretentious. It's sucking the life out of me. Just typical. Just like Of course. Like, why are we gatekeeping things now? Why? Just architects, they just don't realize that they have a huge communications problem. Huge communications problem. They don't know how to speak. And they don't know how to speak to grad students, that's for sure. Yeah, like a lot of great questions were asked and no answers were given. No, I asked a very basic question about where architecture is being taught in public high schools, and I got zero answer to that. I got, they're learning CAD. That's not what I asked. I don't know what that has to do with anything. No, exactly. Yeah. Maybe the Poetry Foundation will get us more excited. Give me life.
I think the Poetry Foundation did actually give us a little bit of life back after that meeting. But
I was going to say, spoiler alert, it did not.
I mean, yeah, I was being kind of generous.
The spoiler alert is that we did not go to the Poetry Foundation after that. We actually went on a long walk because we got lost, and then we ended up at a museum, and then we ended up at the Poetry Foundation.
We'll get into that.
After 30,000 steps. But anyways, back to the AIA.
The AIA meeting, like I said, did in fact suck the life out of me. We were in that building for, felt like 3 hours, served food. That's being generous, calling it food.
No, we were in there, I think, an hour, but it just felt like forever because, okay, what I said about architecture having a communications problem, this is dire. Like, architects don't know how to speak because the architecture profession obviously prioritizes, like, your architecture hard skills and, like, portfolio. Like, if you have a stunning portfolio, you can kind of get anything. But, like, that means that you can't talk or, like, you can't communicate to people that aren't architects, like, or you can't teach. Like, you can't do all these other things that are, to me, way more important than, oh, you built this, like, spectacular looking thing.
Exactly.
Architecture's biggest problem to me, but
communication. We talk about this a lot in studio. This isn't necessarily relating to the AIA tour, but some of our teachers are really, really good and we love them, but we just wish that they would communicate to us a little bit better because we are learning, and that's how I felt at this meeting a little bit. Like, this is almost way above my head right now. Sure, in maybe 5 years, I'll be able to sit down and have this conversation, but I'm still learning, you know?
Exactly. Well, I think it's that in architecture school, your professors aren't teachers, they're architects.
Yes, that's a great point.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're trying to do with this podcast almost, is to make architecture more accessible to other people.
Like, just talk about it in a less pretentious way and in a way that's like, I don't really know what I'm talking about. And I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
But that's, like, helpful. Like, we don't need to talk about things with this, like, coded language that is really just meant to exclude people and only talk to one audience. Like, that's not necessary.
Yeah, I think you can kind of get the vibe of how we felt after the AIA meeting, and we've said enough, I think.
It was just all of that coded language that just... Well, okay, I think we need to talk about how they were also talking about all the initiatives they're doing for high school students, which I didn't know architecture existed as a high school student. And it was just, like, falling on deaf ears because you're talking to a bunch of 20-year-olds that are in a program that are
20
struggling.
to 30-year-olds.
Yeah, that are struggling to figure out what architecture is. And you're talking about how you're helping 15-year-olds figure out what architecture is. And we're sitting here like, well, we need that too. And
exactly.
You don't offer anything for that.
I think it's great that they're helping high school students, but help us a little bit too.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like we need to be talked to as if we're learning it for the first time too. And they kind of think that, oh, you're older, I'm assuming you know this, but spoiler alert, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't know it.
No, they just throw out, oh my God, a million.
Give me the definitions.
Yeah, no one gives you a definition for anything. You just kind of go in there and they throw words at you and you just figure it out. And you're like, context clues or not. I mean...
No, I know.
Which is why we were so discouraged after the AIA meeting, because it's like this organization that's supposed to help architects, but we don't feel like architects yet in a way because we're still trying to break down the barrier of the language that architects use and trying to be like, stop speaking, think for 1 second
Yeah.
and say that in a normal way.
Yes.
Like you're not talking to a fellow architect. You're talking to a student. You're talking to someone below you. Like, think of me as below you.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what you know.
No, I know. Yeah, exactly. Perfectly said.
Enough said.
Enough said. Period. Okay, after the AIA meeting, we're chugging right along. We go to the Chicago Architecture Museum. This museum is what... This museum...
A blur.
was a blur. I think I walked in and fell asleep. If you're going to Chicago and you're not you're not doing any of these studio tours like we did, go to the Chicago Architecture Museum.
I'm
It's
sure
great.
it was cool.
I'm sure it was cool. I couldn't tell you because I basically wasn't there.
We just sat in the gift shop in these two, like, weird chairs and stared into space until someone said, "Are you okay? It's time to go."
I was just going to say there were, like, people in our studio walking past us. Are you guys okay? Yeah, we're fine.
I'm fine.
I'm
I just
fine.
need to
I just need
reboot.
to reboot. It is, I don't even know what time it is at this point. It's like 4 o'clock. We've been up since 8.
7.
Yeah. Like, we're tired.
Oh, my alarm actually would go off at 6 a.m. every day on accident.
Okay, pause from everything. We have to talk about this. Caroline's alarm, I don't know what the problem was. It kept going off an hour before we were actually supposed to be waking up. And we would all, like, just jolt up, being like, what was that? And it was Caroline's
One of
alarm.
my friends didn't check her phone, one of our roommates, and she fully got ready and put her sunscreen and makeup on. and then someone was like, "Julia, what time is it?" And it's like, "Oh, it's an hour before we have to go."
No, she heard your alarm go off and she said, "Say less. I am up and I'm getting ready." Me, I heard that alarm, woke up a little bit, still in a daze, fell right back asleep.
Exactly.
That's
Apologies.
Apologies. Anyways, that was hilarious. So, moral is we were up for a while at this point. So tired of the Chicago Architecture Museum. Next, we went to the Poetry Foundation. How would you describe what the Poetry Foundation is? Because this was your precedent.
A poetry foundation.
Yeah, but what does that even mean?
It's a foundation set up to display and house collections of poetry.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like a tiny library
Yeah.
almost. We weren't really allowed to walk around the whole building. This was another one of Studio Gang's project.
No, was it?
Yeah, this is Studio Gang's. Yeah, Studio Gang.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up.
Is it my precedent? I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, I just looked it up. Studio Gang did design the Poetry Foundation. Slay. It was beautiful. I liked it a lot. At one point, we're inside, and Caroline has this camera, and she takes about 1,000 flash photos. And the woman at the front desk probably gave her like 10 opportunities to not do that. And she was like, "Whoever is taking the flash photos, you need to stop. That is not allowed."
No, she said, "I don't know who you are."
Yeah, she did. "I don't know who you are." And we all looked at Caroline because we all know who it was.
I mean,
It's the only
everyone
person
knows
with
me.
the camera around her neck.
You had a camera around your neck
That's
too,
true.
okay? But she was 0 to 100.
It went, yeah, no, exactly.
She like didn't look like she cared at all.
I
and
thought
then,
she was a student.
And then she snapped.
Yeah. She said
my
enough
bad.
is enough.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. We were
I mean, it's architecture. It's not like an artwork. Okay.
whoa.
it's
I think a
really
lot of architects would disagree with you on that point.
It's not like a painting that's like so sensitive that like when you the reason that you can't take a flash photo of a painting is like the flash can affect the paint because it's so old.
Yes.
Like this is a fucking
I know.
building.
I think they had that rule
give me
just to
a
like not disturb other people in
No,
the thing.
yeah.
But like, yes, I completely agree with you. We are in that Poetry Foundation for about 2.5 seconds, and then we bounced.
It was a long day. At that point, it was like 25,000 steps down.
Then after that, me, Caroline, and a few other people kind of got our own dinner, but we did have a group studio dinner at this restaurant called Arazu. We just couldn't wait to eat.
So we trained all the way back to where Studio Gang was.
On the opposite side of town.
Yep. 2 train lines.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, by this point, we're a master at the trains.
Oh, yeah.
We know the ins and outs. We were like, guys, don't look up any directions. Follow us.
Yeah. No one pull out directions follow, but keep your eyes on us because we're sprinting.
Yeah, we turned into the professors for running. They were like, why are we running?
Because
Because.
they don't know that the in between the blue line and the red line, they kind of line up. So if you don't sprint, you're not making that red line train.
We learned the hard way.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we made the train. I was very proud of us for making the train. And then we get to Arazu, and the restaurant was delicious. It
was so
good. They
good.
paid for our food. They did not pay for our drinks, but, like...
The drinks were
the drinks.
awful. They were...
No. The drinks tasted delicious.
Okay.
Where's the alcohol?
Where was the alcohol?
I think kind of like...
I ordered a margarita. I want my tequila. Where is it?
We had 2 margaritas each.
I think
everyone pretty much had 2 margaritas, and we were like, dead sober.
No, normal.
Normal.
Maybe a good thing. This studio dinner also, it's like our whole cohort and our professors. So
our professors
shouldn't
were there,
be getting
so we
drunk,
weren't. No,
but...
and that wasn't the goal. We were treating it a little bit as a pregame, in a sense, because we had big plans to go out.
We haven't
after.
mentioned that the weekend we're here is St. Patty's Day weekend in Chicago, which Chicago and Boston, I think, are like the 2 cities in the U.S. that go hard for St. Patty's.
So Caroline and I obviously were matching green Care Bear shirts.
Of course, that we bought at Walmart before the trip because we pre-planned this.
We came prepared. We show up to the dinner like literally wearing the same outfit, and they're like, "Did you guys just buy those?" We're like, "No, we didn't just buy these. We came completely prepared. Are you kidding?"
This was fully planned.
Yeah, fully planned. We got them at Walmart, and yeah.
Madeline's not a fan of Walmart.
Someone, like, every time I go into Walmart, someone, like, yells at me, and that happened. Someone yelled at me in a nice way.
Okay,
no, it was the girl that kind of just, like, shouted at me.
She shouted a compliment at her.
It was still scary. Anyways, that's irrelevant. But, yeah, the dinner was really good. I highly recommend it, actually. It was delicious. Afterwards, we went back, gathered everyone up, and went to, I want to say it was called O'Hooligans. I don't really remember the name.
Yeah, it was
like a pub.
It was some Irish pub, and Madeline got her Guinness.
Yes, I got my Guinness. I split the G on the first sip. That's like, you have to do that apparently. Apparently, I got one other person to do it with me. Yeah. Caroline did not, even though she likes beer and I don't like beer, so.
I was just feeling sick, and, like, the thought of a Guinness was not, like, I needed, like, clear.
It kind of tasted like coffee.
It actually was so good.
It was really good. I didn't really think that I would like it, but I kind of loved it.
The bar was great. We watched the UVA game, watched them lose in basketball to NC State.
Yeah, it was really sad. We played a lot of pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good night.
It was really, really fun.
And then it was over. And then we went to Shake Shack, and then it was over.
Exactly. Yeah. You had to go to Shake Shack.
I was so hungry that I ate a whole burger at like midnight. So random. I've never eaten a whole burger at midnight, like all the toppings included.
Pretty much everyone from our studio went to this bar, and then it was like the second it turned midnight, everyone was like, Shake Shack, we're all suddenly starving. Yeah. Let's go. The Shake Shack was right across from our hotel, so whatever. Okay, yeah, that was day 2. Day 3 was a short day. This is the day that we leave Chicago. We started off with our site visit. The reason that we got there.
So exciting.
It was really fun to see our site.
It was cool to we've just been seeing it on Google Maps.
This is the site that the school we're building.
What we've been talking about, the preschool.
Yeah.
This is where it's going to be
The preschool, remember that? Yeah, this is where the preschool is. We saw it, and the site was just, we have been looking at it on Google Maps, but it was just not giving.
Okay, everyone else's site was, like, clean. Our site covered in trash.
Covered in trash. Okay, there are 3 sites we could have chosen, 1, 2, or 3. We chose 2. Site 2. You could not access this if you tried. We tried so hard. We had to like walk across the street, walk across another bridge just to get back to basically where we were, because
Site
don't know.
1 and Site 2.
There's no sidewalk next to it.
All the sites are on the same street, but the sidewalk ends, so you have to do this, like, weird walking route to get from Site 1 to 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was super weird and covered in trash. Ours was, like, barricaded. Like, there was a fence everywhere.
There's a fence all around it. It was honestly just, like, depressing a little bit, but I kind of see it as a challenge for us because it's fun to kind of fix something up.
Not even a challenge. I feel like it's more valid that a building should go here because the site was in such awful condition. It's like, clearly you don't want this.
Yeah,
here.
True.
Like, it's not just like a nice green space we're taking over to put a building on. It's a green space with trash littered all over it.
Yeah, like, let's fix this
That's
up.
not usable, and yeah.
A great urban renewal project, if you will.
Sure. Well, maybe give it that.
I'll say that. So the site visit was, like, not super exciting, but it was fun to do. That was the whole reason we got to Chicago, so it was good to see that. Okay. As we're visiting the site, this is the day that they dye the Chicago River green.
Yeah.
This is the day you walk outside, everyone is dressed head to toe in St. Patrick's Day, merch.
Merch, if you will.
Like, people are drunk at 8 a.m. It is the time.
There's,
it's
like,
so
the
fun.
infamous 8 a.m. Chicago bar crawl. You're blackout by noon. That's the vibe of the city, and everybody is out. Like, the streets are flooded.
I would say my impressions of Chicago was it was a quiet city, because the previous 2 days there, it was pretty quiet. Like, it's a city. But then to that day, it was so crowded we could barely walk. I was like, where did all these people come from?
Kind of loved it.
No, it was so, so, so fun. So, yeah, we saw the river being dyed green.
Side note, everyone in our studio was freaking out that everyone's pictures of their site would have a green river in it. Newsflash, the green dye is awful. It does not distribute through the river quickly.
It did not reach our site at all.
No. And we got there before they dyed the river even. But even if we, like, it just doesn't really, like, do much.
It didn't really matter even if it was green. People were, like, a little bit pressed about that, but it all worked out in the end. We're okay.
Fine.
I just want to say, like, let's not stress about something that hasn't happened yet. That was what this was.
It was such a funny thing that everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to Photoshop
the river." The river looked complete.
Never happened.
There were actually kayakers there when we were visiting our site.
It was gorgeous.
It was beautiful. It was like they were paid models.
Exactly.
Kayaking in front of our site. So, yeah, we dyed the river green, and at this point, after we see the Green River, we take the train to lunch. No,
we walked.
No, we walked to lunch. We went to Fulton Market. It was great.
The lunch we had was spectacular,
like,
actually.
It put me into, like, a coma, and it was, like, amazing. We had just, like, the best food. It was a tapas restaurant. I think it was called...
No. We have no idea.
We have no idea what it was
No
called.
plug, sorry.
No plug. It was really good. Then after that, we take the train back from Fulton Market to Chicago. And I cannot exaggerate this enough. It was the busiest and most insane train ride of my entire life. It was me, Caroline, and another girl. We all take this train. And we go to the train stop. First of all, there's, like, a line to get downstairs.
Yeah, there's a
down
guy
underground.
holding people back, like, on the stairs and escalators down to the platform. There's a guy holding people back.
I was like, guys, we are getting down there. Hold my hand. We all, like, held hands. We were as one. Don't let anyone sneak in front of you. We're getting down there.
Except Madeline got separated.
Yeah, I did.
So me and my friend are held back on the top of the stairs, and she's allowed to go down the platform. Meanwhile, this man behind us points at Madeline and says, "That's my girlfriend. Can I go through?" The guy lets him through, and we're just looking at each other like, "Excuse me, that is not your girlfriend. You've never met that girl. That's not your girlfriend. That's our girlfriend."
Yeah, that was funny. I didn't know about this until they told me afterwards. So I'm downstairs, underground, alone and afraid. I'm, like, texting Caroline, like, I'm so scared. People are literally, like, I was really scared that someone was gonna fall on the tracks. No, it was just that crowded.
Yeah.
People were trying, like, so hard to get onto this train. The train doors couldn't even close. There was a woman down there being like, "There are too many people on the train. Get off the train." It was chaos. Caroline and our other friend finally make it down. They meet us. they meet me, and we link arms, and the next train that comes by, we are floating through that crowd. I am pulling as hard as I can, and we make it on. It was great.
Yeah, I felt picked up off my feet. Like, I wasn't really walking onto the train. I was just in the crowd being moved onto the train.
By this mob of people. And that's definitely where we got our sickness.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely where we got it. And now you can hear it now.
It's coming back.
The congestion in my voice just being gross. That's
because of this.
That's Chicago.
That's because of this. So we make it off the train. The train, it was actually, like, exhilarating. It like, the adrenaline rush that I got from, like, pushing people around down there was so fun.
We were, like, on a high. We were, like, walking to the hotel. We're like, guys,
we got
train.
We were like, guys, you would not believe what just happened. We made it on the train. And we tell our professors, because we were planning on taking the train back to the airport. Mm-hmm. We're like, guys, if we want to make it back to the airport, we have to leave now.
Yeah, so we left then. Well, our group walked through the crowd on the street to get to a less busy train station. Mm-hmm. But some people went to the busy train station and they, like, got separated, and it was crazy for them. Whatever.
There's only so much that we can do.
No.
And warn. Yeah, but that was kind of the end of our Chicago day, and then we made it back to the airport. So we took the train back to the airport, a more mild train experience, and then we left Chicago. We got to the airport about, like, felt like 6 hours before our flight even left. It was really only, like, 2.5, but still.
We went on a long walk of the airport. It was nice.
The airport went on forever. So, yeah, we got on our plane and then left.
And then
now we're back.
Home sweet home in Charlottesville.
Yay. Yeah, we made it back to Charlottesville.
All right. Let's get into the next segment of this Chicago trip takeaways.
And our final segment is Chicago summary and where are we now?
Where are we now? After this stunning trip.
Stunning. Honestly, Chicago has changed my life.
These amazing 3 days of our life.
3 jam-packed days. We walked 25,000 steps in one day.
Oh, yeah. I think 30,000 one day.
Oh.
I think even more.
Oh, my God. Okay, so personally, my main takeaways were the Studio Gang model. Anything we said about Studio Gang has really stuck with me.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the models and the emphasis on model making.
Yeah, definitely. Visiting the site, the whole reason why we went to Chicago, also changed the way I'm thinking about my project a lot. Just seeing how, like, horrible and ugly our site is in real life. Like, it really is horrible. Like, and I want to fix. It has so much potential. It's a fixer-upper.
Fixer-upper.
Yeah, I know. Like, so much potential.
Main takeaway on the site is that it's 60 feet wide. Just redesigned my whole building.
Yeah. Yeah, you made your building just, like, infinitely bigger, which is good.
She's long and skinny now.
Long and skinny. Mine is, like, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
My actual building is the same, but I have some ideas for landscaping.
She has ideas.
You know, I have ideas. We'll see if they get executed. Like we said, we're making our site model together. We're very, very excited. We'll keep you guys posted on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of at the stage in our project where everything is coming together. We're starting to finalize everything. We're starting on our plans and sections, our Rhino models, starting on models. You know, it's the beginning of the end.
Exactly, the beginning of the end. We're putting all the pieces together now. Everything's becoming final. Like, whatever form and shape your building is, you need to program it, get those plans, sections, axons, everything done.
We're doing something new, which is a perspective section, and I've never done this.
I'm so excited.
I'm really, really
those
excited.
Are, like, beautiful drawings.
It also, this is what they had in Studio Gang that they showed us, and
yeah.
It was the perspective sections that made me love their projects that they presented.
Those are, like, the drawings I would see of architecture on Pinterest that I was like, if I could ever make this, like, that would be so cool.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm so excited. And that's kind of pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's what we did this week.
We were out for a week.
We were out for a week, which was a little bit of a bummer, but...
We were taken out by Chicago.
A lot of people got sick. It wasn't just us. Another person got, like, pneumonia. Everyone suddenly lost their voice. that 3-day trip.
No, it was too good. It had to bring us down. We had to be taken down like 10 notches, and now we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
We're getting back there.
Yeah, we're getting back. So this week was kind of our first week back. And yeah, I'm really excited about our project.
I'm very excited. Nervous, stressed, excited.
All
Can't
of the
wait.
above. Yeah,
Can't wait for this to be over.
Yay! Can't wait for this to be over. We're so close. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening to Talkitecture. We hope you loved our first episode. Stay tuned for our next episode in about a week. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at talkitecture.pod. Bye!
That's a wrap.
And that's a wrap.